So in this video here, we're going to be looking at powers, okay? So powers or indices or exponents. So the learning goal is that you can identify these terms. So you know what index form is, index number, base number, and power, etc. So you're going to make sure you need to know that by the end of this lesson. And also that you can do these. You can convert basic numerals into index form or expand them. So firstly, the definition. So what is the power? So the power or exponent of a number shows how many times to use the number in a multiplication. So it's kind of like a way that we use to help write expressions which have repeated multiplication into a simpler form. So the example is here. So if you got an expression, instead of writing 8 times 8 times 8 times, etc., you can just write that as 8 to the power of 5. Now it's important that you understand sort of the anatomy of that, or the way that we can write that, or the different parts of a power. So we're going to use this one here on the example. We have 8 to 8 squared, or 8 to the power of 2. Now the top number there is what we call the exponent. We can also call it the index, or we can call it the power. So you need to know the different types of ways that we can say that. The big number down the bottom left is what we call the base number. So in this example here, if we zoom in close to this example here, we have the base number, which is the big number. We have the index number or the exponent there, and the answer is what we have as a basic numeral. So if you can understand the different parts of that, it'll help you as we move through. So when you're writing a basic numeral as a power, you need to use the base number, which we've shown, and an index number, which goes up to the top of that. And we call this index form. Okay, it's important that you understand that. So we call this index form. It's a simplified version, and we call that index form. Now, there's a lot of mistakes that we often do when we're using this, and that is that we have, for example, if we have 2 to the power of 3, we often can write 2 times 3. It's not that at all. It just means 2 and you times 2 3 times. Okay, so make sure you're not multiplying the base number by the index number. It just tells you how many times that number is repeated in a multiplication. So make sure you try and always stay on top of that. And also another little hint here is that you understand that powers take priority in when we're doing order of operations. So if we have a big sum like this, 3 plus 2 times 4 squared, we need to make sure that we do that first. So the exponent or the index form needs to be done first. Then we can go back and do that. And we'll get to order of operations a bit later. But let's have a quick look at how we sort of can answer questions like that and understanding the difference between index form and expanded form, as our learning goal has said. So we're just going to write these things down, these questions. So the first one here is this one, and I want you to write that in index form. So all we need to do is just write down the base number. So our base number is obviously going to be 5. And the exponent or the index or the power will be how many times it is multiplied. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how we simply write that in index form. Now we can do the same here, even though there's different numbers within it. We can just write our base number first. So we'll start with 3. Our base number is 3. Now how many times is 3 multiplied? 1, 2, you can see 3 there and 4. So it's done 4 times. And then we're going to do times, and we're going to choose our next number, which is 2. So it's 2, and how many times is 2 multiplied? Twice. So that's how you write that in index form. Now the opposite is done when we do expanded form. So in this case, we're doing 2, which is a base number, and the index is 4. So all we're doing is 2 times itself 4 times. Okay, and simply that's how we do expanded form. Now we can also do, again, as we've done before, with different numbers. So here we have 2 to the power of 3 times 5 to the power of 2. So I'm just going to do my base number, which is 2, and I'm going to do it 3 times. And then I'm going to times that by 5 twice. Okay, and that's how we do expanded form and index form. So making sure you understand the difference between that, and also our key little learnings here, particularly with this one with order of operations. When we get an expanded question, we will need to do our order or index first. Then we can follow the order of operations, and making sure you understand that. But at this point, we just need to understand how to do index form, what the index number is, and also the base number. So we're not necessarily evaluating or solving yet, which we will be doing soon. We just want to make sure you understand the basic components of index form. Thanks, guys.